So it's another Monday. Mondays without football always suck, if I'm honest. It's what we went through as a club, obviously, for over half a season, but luckily it's just should be just a one-off week with the weather coming through and a waterlogged pitch. But it's one of these things that weekend when the football disappears just never feels quite as sweet. You got to brave your way through the off season after the season finishes, but you know it's definitely coming back, and that's the positive out of this compared to what we went through all as fans last season. So it's one that it's disappointing that it weren't there. Some people got their Christmas shopping done. That does not fill the void for me, but it is what it is. So brush ourselves off, and we head into next week where hopefully this game will be on. And it's another game against a decent team in the league, so a good chance to prove ourselves. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that game's on. But it's one worth just keeping an eye on. Once you get into that December, January time, it can be tough, especially if you've got a ground where a few teams are playing, a bit of bad weather, and it can hit quite hard. We're quite lucky there's not loads of people playing on our pitch, whereas some others, they're just renting a pitch. And if there's bad weather or another team's churned it up, there's not much you can do. So it is what it is. But there was some good news for East Thurrock over the weekend. We reached 275 owners for the first time in our club's history. So thank you so much, everyone that's become an owner. That is a massive, massive milestone. Fingers crossed. Let's go for 300 by the 11th of January. And the 11th of January this year, is when we launch ownership to the club. So that'll be a year of public ownership, where people can come in and buy a part of the club. So that has been a whirlwind year. It's flown by. We're not far off 11 months into it. So there's no reason we can't just push for this last 25 or 24 owners off the top of my head to get us to 300. So please, 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 if you know anyone, if you're struggling with that Christmas present and they like football, just get in touch, buy ownership, and drop us an email and say, please, can you send this person this certificate at this time on Christmas Day, whatever it might be, or you might want it sent to you and you can print it off and put it in a cart. Whatever it is, let us know and we can sort all that out. So please, please, please get in touch. Spread the word. Let's go for that 300 because that puts us in a massive milestone before all the renewals and everything kicks in. So up the rocks. Thank you for your support there. We've launched a fundraiser for the end of Jan. So on Friday the 31st of Jan, we're off to Romford Dogs. It's a joint fundraiser run with Stamford Hope Cricket Club, and it's all the money for both clubs is there just for buying new equipment for next season. So what you'll get in for this is a coach, return coach, entry into the racecourse, free alcoholic drink, free hot food, and free entry to any meeting at the track within the next 3 months of your visit. And that's for £40 for owners, £50 if you're a non-owner. But come on, guys, you need to become owners. So if you're listening to this and you're not an owner, spend that £5, become an owner because it's a no-brainer rather than spending 50 quid here. So thank you so much for your support with that. And all you need to do, if you look on any of our social media, is text Jono or send an email to the club's account for tickets and details. But yeah, it'll be a great night. And we're looking to try and get something sort of monthly in the diary. It might be like a quiz night, it might be something else, just because there's big benefit to having that social side alongside the club. Because people just know each other better, and for some people, it's the only thing they do every week is they come watch some football. So if we can add a social to that, it really brings everyone together. So um, thank you to everyone that supported these events. By all means, spread the word. If anyone just enjoys dog racing, they can come along. And who knows, they might have a good time and think, actually, I'll give £5 a month, I'll become an owner. So please spread the word to any friends and family that might be interested in that and then get in touch. And then the other bit I want to touch on is stadium and ground requirements for us to get promoted, because this is going to be the hardest part that we're going to face as a club. Because when you go in between leagues, it might be like, oh, add 50 odd seats. it's not the hardest thing in the world. Whereas when you go from the level we're at, sort of the 11th tier of English football, is kind of the highest level of park football. And then once you go up to 10th, it's the lowest level of stadium football. And that is a giant leap. And that comes with its challenges. So I'll kind of just read through the list of what's left that we need to get done. And if you're listening to anything in this list and you think, actually, I can help with that, or I know someone that maybe can do a special rate or something like that, please, please, please let us know. So I'll run through one. First thing is getting turnstile over. We've been told we can take one from Rookery Hill, so that's perfectly fine. Covered seating. So the old ground isn't actually that far away from where we play now. Um, but if you go in the top left hand corner, there is one metal stand there. We've been told we can move that one over. So that's going to be an aim for after the season to move that. It is giant. I think it's something like 120 and maybe just over that seats. So it's not one that we can probably just take it all apart easily and just carry it over piece by piece. We're going to need some machines. So if anyone knows anyone that can specialize help in that area, please, please, please get in touch because we've got to start planning this stuff early. It's not one that we want to get to the end of the season and then go, right, let's start working out how we do this. We want to get ahead of that. There's covered standing, so that's 50. We just need to find something. It could be like a shipping container. We cut the front out and work with an organization like DP World and go, hey, um, call it a DP World stand and we'll get some kind of donation. But we need to just look at all avenues to get covered standing sorted. Doesn't have to be the most glamorous. The bus stops as they were referred to at Rookery Hill. It's a bit of brick, a bit of concrete, and just a metal top. As long as you can get 50 people under one or two of them, that's great. Floodlights is probably the biggest ask, but with all of the other requirements I'm going to go through, you have to have it by the 31st of December for the season where you want to go up. So if we wanted to get promoted this season, all this stuff has to be in place by the end of the calendar year. And you have to fill in your application, you send it all into the FA. The difference with floodlights is you can actually do that in the September after you've gone up. You have to prove that you've got the agreements, and it could be a contract agreed with someone or whatever it might be, because hey, you might not want to install them if you don't go up. But that is the one thing that you can push. So while it's probably the most expensive on the list, it's not the most important to, hey, we need to get this done early. So we can put it on hold a little bit. We need to have a female officials changing room, which is 4 square meters, one shower and one toilet, because we've got facilities for the home team, away team, and a refs room, but you need to have and provide a female officials changing room now. The pitch will need widening. So after the season, we'll widen the pitch slightly. I think it's 9 meters off the top of my head, which is perfectly fine. We can do that. And it might not be one that we go for the full max width because we just need to be able to provide that for next season when we go up. We can obviously play with a slightly narrower pitch because let's take advantage of it. If that's what the managers prefer, we can do that. And one of the bizarre things at our level, you actually have a square pitch, which seems nuts to say, but because of the pitch sizings of tier 11 and below, you can actually get away with a square pitch. One of those things that when you read in the rule book stands out as not what you're expecting. Next up is hard standing. So you need a 0.9 meter perimeter of the pitch. So any side where you've got a stand or anything like that, but you've got to do at least 2 sides. Effectively, it's going to be concrete. There's a few other hard standing options, but they tend to be a lot more expensive. So it's probably just going to be doing like a meter of concrete around at least 2 sides, probably 3. Potentially, we'll just do all 4 and get it done. It depends how expensive it is. So if there's anyone with skills in that area that can sort of even just give us a rough steer of what that quote might be, that's useful to know. And then the last bit's nice and easy, probably the easiest one, an audible electric warning bell or buzzer in the match officials dressing room, which is linked to the players dressing room. And that's just so they can bell the 2 teams and tell them it's time to get ready and get out there for the game. So those are the things that we're missing. There's some of the other stuff that would need to tweak and get there. But if it's adding like a couple of barriers so you can get safely from the dressing room to the pitch, that's easy. Adding a steward, we can do that. These are like the inanimate objects that we just need to add to make sure we're compliant for going up. And that's one that we would all love to go up. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, actually, I can help out with some of those, or I can get involved with Jason's team and how we plan all that, because the planning is going to be just as important as the doing it. So if you can help out with any of that, get in touch, whether it's the one off task, whether it's going, actually, Jason, I'm going to work with you and I'm going to help do this, become the volunteer that owns that area. That then helps out. So please, please, please help us get promoted, because it feels weird to say that promotion is as much what happens off the pitch as on the pitch. And we really want to go up. So thank you very much. Have a great week. Have a great, well, I'm not going to wish you a Merry Christmas just yet. We've got a few more episodes to go. But I'll keep dropping these on the Mondays, regardless of how close we get to Christmas. But as always, thank you so much for your support. Become an owner, spread the word, and up the rocks.